What's going on, everyone? It's BVNS, and we're here to talk about something that took me months to put together but finally came together. The lore of Anastasia Kimeru, otherwise known as Nurukage. Let's get it. After traversing the red mist alone, Anastasia takes it upon herself to befriend humans. However, that did not go as planned. The humans held lots of hatred in their hearts against revenants. In the past, humans were captured by corrupt revenants for their blood. Seeing this, Anastasia makes her getaway and lives in hiding. Anastasia loved the humans and did not wish harm upon them. She spent most of her days out next to a waterfall, training, honing her sword skills, and meditating to enhance her visual prowess. It was one fated evening, Anastasia fell asleep, and in this dream, she met her doppelganger. This doppelganger challenged her to a duel. Anastasia, always looking for a challenge, accepts this duel. Emerging victorious, Anastasia's doppelganger turns into a purple mist, shrouds her eyes, and says, "Upon defeating thyself and seeing not only thy resolve, but thy skills with a blade, you have been granted access to the void. Take heed, for unto thee a blade shall be embedded into thy right eye." At that moment, Anastasia's right eye turned purple, with a peculiar design, as well as leaving a vertical scar through her eye. The embedded sword was a katana called Forbidden Judgment, a weapon capable of sensing her opponent's emotions and feelings in a fight. Upon waking up from this dream, Anastasia found herself bound in shackles and chains in a dark room. There, she found a man cutting into her and pouring her blood into bottles. As Anastasia was about to question him, no words came out of her mouth. Turns out, her vocal cords had been crushed. She could not speak. Unable to do anything, all she could do is sit and wait for time to pass. Though her body does not feel pain, it does feel the burdens, so the more blood they extracted from her, the weaker she felt. Having the queen's blood, regenerating blood was no problem, which also meant there would not be a shortage of her blood. She noticed she was only being cut in one spot over and over again. No other spot was cut. Anastasia's mind was racing. Why? What did I do to deserve this? All those times I protected and freed humans from revenants, this is how I get repaid? She learned that there was a foul and false rumor that claimed her blood provides wealth, happiness, and immortality. This was in fact far from the truth. Those who consumed her blood were fated to die the moment Anastasia lost her will to smile, which in fact did not take long. Anastasia, having endured constant waves of fatigue due to blood loss, had her love for humans falter. Her left eye started to turn red. Waves of anguish, sadness, loneliness, anger, and disgust took over her, and in that instant, she stopped the hearts of all those who partook of her blood. All but one noble remained. He pleaded for his life, got on his knees and begged, and even let Anastasia go. This would not be enough to spare him, so Anastasia stopped his heart as well. At that moment, Anastasia's right eye began to glow and created a beam of purple light in front of her. A portal presented itself. Anywhere is better than here. What hell? Anastasia thought as she entered the portal in her weakened state. Everything went blank for a moment. Just then, she received a touch of healing. It was a warm feeling, something Anastasia had longed for. Not only healing, but company, a potential friend. When Anastasia gained sight, she was being carried away by a man in an orange coat. His eyes harbored power, yet his vibe wasn't anything overwhelming. However, his face had a sense of urgency written all over it. Next to the man carrying her is another one who was referred to as Lord Second. However, Anastasia's consciousness slowly started to fade. As Anastasia was coming to, the figure who was referred to as Lord Second was checking on her condition. He introduced himself as Raitami, aka the second Yumikage. Raitami explained the situation to Anastasia, how Holy Materia, the first Yumikage, sacrificed himself in order to prevent Anastasia from falling into Madara's infinite Tsukiyomi. Feeling guilty, Anastasia asked to lead the way and for the Shadow Yumikage Inara to be her guide. An emergency rescue mission had to take place. Target, Holy Materia. Time was against us. Anastasia, with her mystic eyes of Queen's Judgment, was able to resist the effects of the infinite Tsukiyomi. However, traversing through a different world, her powers had dwindled drastically. Her visual prowess as well as her swordplay is not what it used to be. With the help of the Dream Village, Anastasia has successfully freed Holy Materia. Upon doing so, however, a trap was triggered. A a mob of white Zetsu began to form. Anastasia proceeded to act as a decoy in order for the Dream Village to escape, with Holy Materia who had just awoken. Raitami and Hinata looked at each other, concerned, but Anastasia reassures them by smiling and nodding back at them. As Anastasia began the onslaught of the white Zetsu, the Dream Village made their escape. After giving the Dream Village enough time to escape, it was now Anastasia's turn. Surrounded, having nowhere to go, Anastasia's only course of action would be to plow through them one by one. After suffering a wound that was not fully healed before traversing, it was taking its toll. The numbers game had begun to overwhelm her as well. Anastasia, not being familiar with the layout, ran aimlessly. Anastasia had found a waterfall, and just past that waterfall was a cave. Wasting no time, she jumps right through and tumbles. Having no strength left, she could not move. Was this to be my end? Anastasia thought. There's so many questions. I want to meet my savior. Suddenly, Anastasia was approached by a crow, who fed her a berry. One berry after another. Anastasia regained her strength just barely, able to sit up. Thankful for all the berries, Anastasia befriended this crow. This crow looked back at Anastasia with the same right eye as her. A crow with one power from the void, granting another person who was welcome to the void the power to teleport to the crow's location. Anastasia saw this as an opportunity to be able to connect with the Dream Village. Using the last of her strength, Anastasia cloaks the crow so as not to be detected in order for the crow to make its way to the Dream Village. Having made its way to the Dream Village, the crow reveals itself next to the resting Holy Materia. The lucid dreamers all noticed right away. The crow had the same right eye as Anastasia, so they allowed the crow to make itself right at home. It is then that Anastasia begins to gather a resistance group. Only those of strong will and resolve were able to manifest themselves into what Anastasia has called Village Hidden in the Void.